Hello agents and welcome back to another Division build video. This is an updated video for my LMG build. I get asked a lot on stream, what build am I running, and I run this one most of the time. So if you want to come and check me out on stream, you can do, twitch.tv/DJTICKLE. Now that it's min-maxed, I thought it was time to do an updated video. There's a couple of options which you can do with this build as well, which I'll run through as I get there. But here is the build. Nothing too crazy from the norm right now. All the pieces you would expect to be in the places that they are. I put some footage at the end of me running Heroic Wall Street. Just the beginning section, just so you can see that you're able to push with glass cannon and that it's not a hindrance. Because essentially you get to put out so much damage that they don't get a chance to hit you. So that's the idea with this build. It's a very glass cannon essentially kind of build. You do get hit hard from enemies because of the incoming damage that you're going to take, because I am running perfect glass cannon as well. So we're going to run the gunner. There's nothing unusual there. I won't go through this too much. Here is what I'm spec'd into. LMGs of course, because I want the 50 extra rounds. And then as my secondary I run a marksman rifle. I run a rifle, so I've got spec'd into that as well. I'm running the infantry MG5. I got this the other day from the raid, I was pretty lucky. 2% shot on LMG damage and 1% shot on damage to out of cover. Maximum damage to armor and fast hands. Fast hands is just definitely the best in slot right now, especially for an LMG. The critical hits add a stack of 4% reload speed bonus and the max stack is 40. You just absolutely fly through reload in the mag. It's literally animation bound that you fly through it that fast. As my secondary I'm running a rifleman M1A. It could be better. I have got a better one if you look at this one for boomerang. So it depends if you're hitting the headshots or if you're just not so good with the headshots, go for boomerang instead. For the raid though, I do switch it up a little bit. I switch in this LMG. So it's not perfectly rolled, but it has health damage on as well, which works really good for Razorback. And then it's got steady handed, so hits grant a stack of 1% accuracy and stability. At 100 stacks, consumes them and refills the magazine. So because it's got 150 in the mag, essentially when I'm shooting Razorback there is no downtime. The mag will just constantly refill. It's really good damage and there is no downtime whatsoever. The magazine will constantly stay full. So it's doing extra damage to Razorback because of the health damage, because he's not classed as armor. So really good. This is essentially my raid loadout. The mask, Providence, pretty min-maxed, to shorter percent here. And obviously my mod is a tiny 0.4% out from being maxed. 3-piece Providence, if you didn't already know, headshot damage, critical hit chance and critical hit damage. Second piece Providence, I'm running the Sacrifice. Obviously you could run an unnamed version if you haven't been this lucky, but obviously I have been really lucky with this because it came with 15% weapon damage, completely maxed, 12% critical hit damage, completely maxed, and then I just put 6% critical hit chance and maxed that out as well. A really good mod again here, 11.4% out of 12, and with perfect glass cannon. All damage you deal is amplified, which is multiplicative damage, by 30%. All damage you take is amplified, again multiplicative damage, by 60%. So it is pretty harsh, but as you can see from the gameplay, I just put out so much damage, it's definitely worth it. We'll flick over to the backpack to complete the Providence set. It's got a few bits of improvement here, but not so far off. 13.4% weapon damage, 5.4% crit chance, and 11.6% crit damage. And then I put again crit damage on the mods. So I'm 0.1, not even 0.1% out here. 0.6 here and 0.4 here, and this obviously could be 15. Talent I'm running is Vigilance. This is the one I changed, and I'm actually pretty lucky with this because if I ever want to change, I can modify the talent and still have really high stats. Increases total weapon damage by 25%. Taking damage disables the buff for 4 seconds. So essentially you don't feel like you lose the buff too often, but really, really good damage. Contractor's Gloves, easily best in slot for pretty much all builds apart from skill builds. 15% weapon damage, 11% damage to armor, which comes as standard. Every pair that drops, no matter how good or bad, will always have the 11% multiplicative damage to armor stat here. And then I've rolled on maximum critical hit damage to make them god tier. Same with the Foxborough knee pads. 15% weapon damage, 15% damage to targets out of cover. Now this is multiplicative damage as well and always comes maxed at 15%. And I've rolled on 12% critical hit damage. These two pieces are best in slot. And if you want to farm them, hit up the targeted loot, go and find the brand and go and farm away. And hopefully you'll get lucky and get a pair. Holster, Seska holster. I'm missing a whole percent here, but apart from that, it is perfect. And this provides me with an extra 10% critical hit chance on the brand set bonus. And then I put on critical hit chance here to get my critical hit chance as close to 60% as possible. I run the Banshee Pulse to disturb the bad guys, and then I run Revive a Hive. Depending on the content that you are running, you could perhaps run something else here. If you're running challenging content for the leagues or something like that, you could run something else here. Maybe run the drone or the sticky bomb or the firefly skill for blinding them is really, really good as well. If you're wondering what my SHD level is, it's 649. What you can see here though is that critical hit chance is actually capped out. That's a full extra 10%. And then my critical hit damage is just under 6%, 5.6% lower than what it could actually be. That's what I'm working on right now. Weapon damage has got a whole 7% that I can add to it yet. And there's around 8% missing from my headshot damage. Which when we throw over and have a look at my stats, you can see I'm just shy of the 60% cap. To me, I could go up to 60% by swapping a mod out, but it would be overkill. I would lose too much critical hit damage on the LMG to make this actually worth it. Headshot damage is 106% with the 168% critical hit damage, which will obviously will go over 170 by the time I finish my watch. We have 17% armor damage as well, which is really, really good. If I switch over to my IWI, which is again just for Razorback, you can see again very, very similar stats across the board. What I am going to do, I'm going to switch back to my original loadout so that you can just see when I switch to my Rifleman. Again, almost 60% crit chance, 179% crit hit damage, and 81% headshot damage. So it hits really, really hard. One thing I did want to mention is the alternative masks that you can run. You could run the Coyote mask in the place here, which if you're hitting between 0 to 50 meters would actually give you an extra 10% critical hit damage on previous stats. But obviously all enemies must be between 0 and 15 meters. If you're hitting 15 to 25 meters, you get critical hit chance and critical hit damage. The chance will be completely wasted on this build. So you would actually be lower in critical hit damage, but not too far off. So if you think mostly you're going to be killing, if your gameplay style revolves between 0 and 15 meters, it could be worth actually running the Coyote mask instead. So we'll flick over, and as you can see, critical hit chance is just the same near enough. And obviously there was a mod missing from that, if you would have noticed. Put that one in. So the critical hit damage is 152, but obviously once you hit an enemy within 0 to 15 meters, you're going to gain 25% extra, which would be a little bit more, but obviously it is very much dependent on you being between 0 and 15 meters. The other mask you could run, depending on the content that you're playing, is the Hollow Man if you've been lucky enough to get one. Unfortunately, mine ran with skill haste. I would much rather this be some kind of red bar. Essentially, best in slot here for me would be critical hit damage, but any red bar would be useful because I could then alter the other parts of the build to suit. If you're running legendaries perhaps, or if you're running solo heroics, maybe where you're going to get much more red bars enemies, this would be much more suitable. As you can see, you drop quite a lot of critical hit damage. Critical hit chance is good, but obviously you gain this huge amount here of multiplicative damage to health. So really, really good. 15% weapon damage on the 21% damage to health. So anything that doesn't have armor, you are absolutely going to melt with this build. I have actually put a segment in the end of this video of me running the beginning again of Wall Street with this mask on, just so you can compare the two, see how quick red bars melt in comparison to ones with armor. Thanks for watching, guys. If you did like the video, do hit that subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, give me a thumbs down, and comment down below and let me know what you think. Pretty min-maxed. It's certainly my play style. It's definitely how I like to play, and I'm pretty happy with it. Do tune in for more build videos, guys. I've got some more on the way, so do tune in for that. And if you want any other Division content, hit me up with a comment down below, or come and see me over on Twitch, twitch.tv/DJTICKLE, and let me know. Thanks again, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
You're coming up on Dragov's outer perimeter. Remember, you're only here for Dragov, but if you find his supply depot, raid it. Denying Dragov that stockpile will also deny Keener crucial support.
Be careful. I still don't like the idea of throwing you to the wolves, no matter how much we want Dragov first role in the City Hall attack.
Radio intercepted.
I hear gunfire. Report.
Loading area by Broad Street is under attack. It's the Division.
Sell the gate. Use the APC. Do not let them raid the stockpile.
You're coming up on Dragov's outer perimeter. Remember, you're only here for Dragov, but if you find his supply depot, raid it. Denying Dragov that stockpile will also deny Keener crucial support.
Be careful. I still don't like the idea of throwing you to the wolves, no matter how much we want Dragov first role in the City Hall attack.
Hostile radio intercepted.
I hear gunfire. Report.
Loading area by Broad Street is under attack. It's the division.
Sell the gate. Use the APC. Do not let them raid the stockpile.